Hello and welcome to BCN News. This week is our very first episode of the year. Here's Cara Levine with coverage on the Northern Bites team. Care?
Thanks, Jillian. Bowdoin's own robotics team, the Northern Bites, recently traveled down to Washington, D.C. to participate in the Science and Engineering Festival. We talked to senior Jack Morrison about the event.
We took our robots and hung out with little kids and their parents and sort of showed people what we could do and how cool robots are.
Yeah.
There were 1,500 booths on the mall laid out between Congress and the Washington Monument, and I think like tens of thousands of people came at least. So the Northern Bites compete every year in RoboCup, which is an international robotic competition where we play soccer autonomously. So there's no human control of the robots. They run around and play soccer and win world championships and stuff. In 2007, we won the world championship. In 2008, we got third, and in 2009, we got second.
Look out for more Northern Bites events coming later this year. For BCN News, I'm Carolyn Levine. Back to you, Jillian.
Now, here's Susanna Burridge with news on the Religion and Sexuality Film Festival this past week. Susanna?
This past Thursday and Friday was the Good Sex, Religion and Sexuality and Film Festival. As part of the 24 College Let's Talk About Sex series, the festival screened 3 films discussing the conflict between religion and sexuality. BCN attended the screening of For the Bible Tells Me So and covered the discussion led by religion professor Elizabeth Pritchard and senior Just Foster.
If the definition of marriage should change, the family as we know it will die, and with it will go everything else that sits on that foundation.
He's even gone so extreme as to say that gays are comparable to Nazis and how they will destroy the Christian foundation of this country.
Homosexuality is a preventable disorder, and I still see it as a disorder.
I have to tell you that as a psychologist, the idea that homosexuality is a preventable disorder is completely misguided. There's no scientific research to back it up. It's not a disorder any more than heterosexuality is a disorder.
Clement and Augustine, right, the early church fathers, one in the beginning of the 3rd century CE, and Augustine, who dies in 430. Both of them, remember them, were faced with this question of why is it that these patriarchs in the Hebrew Bible have many wives? You know, is that what we should be doing? And of course, Clement and Augustine came to the conclusion that celibacy was always best. Marriage was second best. But you know, here they were fielding questions about, here are these models of faith that God, you know, declared as leaders, and here they have many wives, so maybe we're supposed to do that. And they said, don't read it literally. You know, that was appropriate for that time. And Augustine himself argued there are at least 4 layers to Scripture, and in some ways, the reason why there's so many layers to Scripture is to kind of almost draw you in, right? To kind of always keep you interested in looking for more and finding deeper and deeper meanings. You kind of assume that a rich text would be something you'd want to read in your entire life. And we find again and again throughout Christian history up until the 20th century, Luther, Calvin, the Protestant reformers, insisting that Scripture has many layers.
My thought about homosexuality being the big sin is that it is one of the few where there isn't kind of like this overwhelming understanding of the experience or the drive to it. I think it's one thing that, because ironically to me, I was having this discussion with some friends of mine a few days ago, is that it's interesting to me that straight people can feel so passionately about something that they can't understand. It's like straight people aren't gay. It's like they never, like, why do you care so much? Because you're straight. So like it doesn't even affect you, whereas other sins, you know, a lot of people can relate to, so they really can't condemn another person for something that they do themselves. And it's easier for them to be forgiven of something that they themselves struggle with and want forgiveness for themselves, whereas homosexuality is something they don't understand, so they may not necessarily have that like capacity for empathy and understanding, and therefore for forgiveness for that. And I think that might be the only thing, or certainly one of the few only things that is such a keen division about. And I think there are a lot of similarities there in experience, but I think it's harder for people to tap into those because they see the big difference, and it's that lack of experience.
For more information on sexual and gender diversity, visit the queer webpage on the Bowdoin website. For BCN News, I'm Susanna Burridge. Back to you, Jillian.
After the recent closing of the Common College Gossip website, Juicy Campus, many college students across the country have turned to a new site, the Anonymous Confessional Board, or collegeacb.com. The site allows students to find a page specific to their own university and to make posts on anything they want or to comment on posts already made. In its mission statement, College ACB explains that the site is, quote, a place to vent, rant, and talk to college peers in an environment free from social constraints and about subjects that might otherwise be taboo. BCN checked out Bowdoin's page on collegeacb.com and spoke to 2 students who were mentioned on the site to hear their reactions on appearing on the site.
I find it extremely weird and, frankly, kind of uncomfortable. But thank you to my fans out there.
I haven't paid much attention to it, obviously. It's pretty funny. I think I can imagine who wrote each of the things, which one of my friends. I don't read too much into it, as I hope no one really does. It only I think becomes an issue when we give it the time of day and worry about what people are saying, really.
The students also gave their opinions on the future of College ACB here at Bowdoin.
I don't really understand how or why Bowdoin got started with this, but it seems like it's for people who kind of want to anonymously rip on other people or talk. I don't know. It's like the new Juicy Campus, but I don't think it's ever going to be used for anything but this. And I honestly don't think it's ever going to become a popular site for Bowdoin students to visit.
I don't think it'll ever serve a useful purpose at Bowdoin because any serious conversation can be had on Curia. And I think that's a pretty good forum for that, and people do respect that.
So maybe College ACB won't be the next big thing here at Bowdoin, but I guess only time will tell. If you want to check out the site for yourself, visit collegeacb.com. That's it for this episode of BCN News. Be sure to check out the new movies for November on the Movie Channel, as well as new student shows coming out soon. For BCN News, I'm Jillian Baptiste.